We're starting in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, session or week number 5 of writing TOEFL iBT. This time, rather than my feedback, I'm going to ask you to let me know if you want any other way than the way I am giving you feedback. Then I will continue with the second portion of last week, giving you part 2 of tips, and we will do an activity, inshallah. So if you have any question, put your hands up, and I'm happy to listen to feedback from you guys. I have given you feedback a little bit late, and that is because I have not been well. Friday I was in hospital again, and Sunday I was teaching my younger girls in Afghanistan. So I've managed to give you feedback your evening, our morning, and then the remaining I just did it this afternoon when I came back from work. I think that you have picked up and improved your writing, and I think that it is because you're reading the presentations to what I am expecting you to do. Keep up the good work. Writing essays is not easy, and that is why you're doing this course. And I am positive that you will improve, and especially that to write an essay on a reading article is probably the toughest job. Though, compared to a couple of years ago, the writing section has become easier, but it's still, because it means that you have to put lots of effort on a material that you may not know much. And that is exactly how you should be handling. You should be just writing on what you see in the article. If you have to express your opinion, then you can do so by giving examples. But if they're not asking for examples, then just leave it. Just concentrate on what the reading article is. So I am impressed. You had lost me last week, but this morning and today, whatever I have received, you've got my confidence back in you. Keep up the good work, please. For those of you who had to wait a little bit longer to receive feedback, as I said, I apologize. Hopefully, moving forward, I will dedicate my Saturdays to you. But please submit your work as early as possible. So you guys are lucky that I decided to give you feedback. Some students literally have given me their essay today, when we all agreed that you must try to submit it on your Friday night, which is my Saturday morning, that's what I've allocated my Saturday morning to you, to your class. So if you do finish it before, and if you do it on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you get much faster feedback from me. But if you are continuing to do it late, I guess it's better than never. Some students are picking up and giving me essays from week 1 and week 2. And slowly I will give them feedback. Some of you, I still don't know what format you are using. I am not able to open your file. So if you get a message from me that I can't open your file and you do have access, open your file, copy and paste it as a content in the email. And then that should be fine for me. then I can read and I can give you detailed feedback. Other than that, I am very happy. Keep up the good work, and I'm positive that you will be improving day by day. Yes, Fariba, do you have a suggestion or a comment?
Hello, Miss. I hope you are doing well now. My question was here that were you able to open my assignment, please?
I just this I think probably about 20 minutes ago I provided you feedback, Fariba.
Okay, thanks a million.
Just no worries. Just check your emails. Only 2, 3 students I was not able to open, and in my emails I have said, please, I can't open your file. If you think that I have
Thank you.
missed one of your essay because of my illness, send it back again. Bring it to my attention. I don't mind. As I said, I apologize. There's 10 days away from my full-time job, plus with difficulty I've managed to I'm positive that I've not given you 100%, but my health has really suffered this time. I normally don't get sick, but this time I've got no idea what's happened. Is it has drained me, so I lack energy, and it's as if I'm like a child learning to walk, and to speak is just it's just I don't know. I'm finding it very difficult. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me full recovery, and may even my worst enemy doesn't have to go through what I have gone through. It has been the worst couple of weeks of my life, but anyway, let's just get back to the lesson, and I will continue. So if you have a questions, write them in the chat box, and then I'll get back to you, because I don't see uh, the view of students or answer anything from here onward. So I've given you my feedback, and if you're happy, good. If you're not happy, please keep on writing in the chat box, and I'm happy to come on board. Unfortunately, this year I'm on my own. Normally, I used to have an assistant that used to help me with marking, but be patient. I will attend to every one of you, inshallah. So last week we covered 5 tips for writing integrated essay. Now I'm doing the last 5, and each one of them is going to I'll go into detail with you, and I'm hoping that you will read this, and whatever works with you, you practice. And if it is something that you're struggling and you don't understand, and you're finding it waste of time, then forget about it. Forget about it. There's many ways of writing essay, and this is coming from a TOEFL iBT website, um, and even I don't agree with all the tips, but sometimes it's helpful to share. Examiners are looking for things like this. So let's just go to the number 6. Be sure to add to the discussion. Do not repeat points and ideas from the discussion in. I think this is where some of you are making that mistake. Don't repeat yourself. You only pick a point and you discuss it once. There's no need to go in circle about it. Like I said, your essay writing is good. The length of your essays is good. I think only one student today got a response from me that it was way over 300. You don't need to. So in this example, it says that on July 26, 2023, TOEFL iBT introduced a writing question called Writing for Academic Discussion. It is now replacing the independent writing task, where you have a article and different views of different people are in this um, article. So then, which means that it's not just one point. When you are reading, you need to make sure that you make a comment about whoever has made whatever point that they've done. So let's just say that you're reading an article and um, you pick up 3 points. Then leave it at that. For a 280 to 300, you don't need no more than that anyway. And then discuss each of those points and you'll be fine. They're not asking for your view. They're asking for whatever person A, person B, person C has said. So some of you wrote really nice. You let me know that you are discussing a reading article. So your introduction just captured my attention. And that is what it needs to say. You need to have an introduction. And in your introduction, you need to mention that how many points you're going to be discussing. That's it. Then the body of your essay is going to be discussing each point, who has said, what has said, and what do they mean. So you are reviewing their idea. In the example above, the professor poses a question about whether or not globalization has a positive or negative effect on society. So one of the people in that previous slide was Brian. Brian believed globalization is positive because it brings people and culture closer together. Well, another person that was in there that was giving opinion was Alex. Alex thinks globalization leads to exploitations of developing countries. When it's times to write, be sure to add to the discussions. Do not just repeat the same point again and again. So in this case, Brian is idea is mentioned, and then it has been discussed that Brian says this, but Alex has a different view. Look at the same response below. So the same questions that we just discussed, not look at this same, but it has done in a differently. In my opinion, globalization is a positive force in the world today. My personal belief is that when nation interacts together, it leads to less suffering. For example, people who suffer from natural catastrophe can import goods and services to help mitigate their loss and recover quickly. Citizens of the nations who may be going through war or famine can flee to the neighboring countries for shelter. Exactly what is happening in Afghanistan, that we are running to Pakistan, in Iran, and India. I understand Alex's concern over cultures homogenization, but I believe she misses another critical point. Much of the food found in the grocery stores around the world is imported. Our very diet is due to the international trade partnerships and alliance forged over the last half of the 20th century. International trade and travel are not possible in a world without globalization, which is why I believe it's crucial to maintain our current global policies for a safer world and a higher standard of living. So I really want you, when this power presentation is going to be shared with you, I want you to read the previous slide number 5, because it was too small and I didn't want to spend time on that now. But when you receive it, you have time, go and read each person's and their view. And then you will notice that this review that is written in, I've highlighted in blue, is much better a discussion that should be discussing the article. Number 7, stick to few simple verb tenses. And I think this is where majority of us struggle. And why is that? Is because we translate. When we are writing, we are thinking in Dari and Pashto. So the grammar of Dari Pashto is very different to English. And you mix up. I do it still. So try to think, read it in English because the article is in English. But try not to translate it in your mother tongue. Try to have an understanding of it in English. That's the only way that you will overcome this sort of issues. The test takers tend to think that they have to use complicated grammar in TOEFL writing section to earn a high test score. That's not true. Stick to simple English, you'll be perfectly fine. In fact, for the new writing of academic discussion task, you only need 3 verbs. You must use simple present, you must use simple past, and you must use present perfect. So I've highlighted all of the verb tense used in my response to the question about globalization, and almost all of them are in simple present. For example, let's say that the reading passage states. So as you can see here, the verbs are in bold, just to show you the same paragraph that we discussed before, but now because we're talking about the verbs, I have made them bold for you to see what do I mean. In my opinion, globalization is a positive force in the world today. My personal belief is that when nation interacts together, it leads to less suffering. For example, people who suffer. So people now, we're talking about more than one. So it becomes suffer from natural catastrophe, can import goods and services, helps mitigate their losses and recover quickly. Citizens of the nations who may be going through war or famine can flee to the neighboring country for shelter. I understand Alex's concerns over culture homogenization, but I believe she misses another critical point. Much of the food found in grocery store around the world is imported. Our very diet is due to the international trade partnerships and alliance forged over the last half of the 20th century. International trade and travel are not possible in a world without globalization, which is why I believe it is crucial to maintain our current global policies for a safer world with a higher standard of living. So the same paragraph, and I read it again, but this time I emphasized on the verbs because they were telling us that we have to use which 2 verbs, which is highlighted to you. Point number 8, try to include multiple sentences with more than one clause, meaning that when you are talking about a point, you show different view of it. According to the Michael Gooden at Test Resources, the TOEFL writer likes writing samples that include sentences with subordinating and coordinating conjunctions. So what do we mean by subordinating and coordinating? A subordinating conjunction is a word or a phrase that links a dependent clause to an independent clause, while a coordinating conjunction joins two elements of equal importance. Check out the table handout for a handy list of both, because we have given you some information. So I'll let you do that one yourself. And once again, in this paragraph, the same paragraph, it's been highlighted to tell you that how you are looking at 2 points and not just on one side. If I keep on reading the same paragraph again and again, I think I'm going to put you to sleep. But each time the highlight is done differently. So this time it's highlighting to the fact that which 2 points are being compared and if they are the same or they are different. Point number 9. Give yourself time to check and edit. Especially now that you are writing to me and um you're not sticking to timer. So you're doing it a little bit um freely. So therefore you should go back and read in the real time when you're going to be doing TOEFL assessment. You need to time yourself the way I've mentioned it before. So 2 minutes should be just for planning, and then 9 minutes should be to write it. And in that, you should give yourself time to go back and proofread, because quite often when we write, we don't see our mistake. But be really critical of your own writing, and then check that you don't have grammar, you don't have spelling. These two is must. Plus punctuation is very important. I think, if you don't mind me saying, I think Freba, it was you that I just checked your last submission, and you end up, this is a formal essay that you're submitting, and then you end it with dot 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 dot. In a formal essay, you can't use that. So punctuation, you have to be very careful to say that when do I use comma, when do I use semicolon, when do I use full stop. Unless that you are discussing two same idea or two different idea, then do not make your sentences too long. You lose it, the mark examiner. Nice, short, sweet is much better than to have a sentence that it's going into 3-4 lines, and that is where you um, fall into the trap and you don't do correct punctuations. Point number 9 is continuing that in your spelling, you also need to pay attention that where do you have to use capital letter, and do I have to put a space between my words, single space, double space. Personal areas of the weakness is that quite often we mix up with the subjects and the verbs.
You want a meeting still?
No, come. So I already mentioned about the proper verbs, that pay attention that you don't mix up your present and past and so on. If you get time, try to read it, because when you read, you actually start to pick up on mistakes. In writing, quite often, I honestly, I miss my mistakes. But when I read my writing, then in my sound, in my ears, it start to say, oh, that doesn't sound good. There's something wrong. Let me read it again. You can also use the feedback. At the moment, you get feedback from me, but if you want it, you could also start making groups where you can comfortable, if you feel comfortable, give your essays to somebody else and get them to check for you. But please be careful. Do not make private groups. And if you are making, please watch out that you don't cross the lines and you don't create problems, especially among, if you are doing it, then the sisters should be working together and the brothers should be working together. Don't mix it, because if there's any complication occurs, you're going to put me into trouble, please. It's for your own safety. Do not cross the lines. And on this slide, I've also given you a YouTube that gives you a little bit more information that how should you be writing an essay using a reading article. So I'm hoping that you will look at that in detail and get the benefit of it. And now you have a reading article, which is going to be your homework on this. In an increasing interconnected world, multilingualism has become more important than ever. Being able to communicate in multiple languages enhances personal, academic, and professional opportunities. It fosters culture, cultural understanding, and empathy, allowing individuals to connect with people from diverse background and perspective. In educational settings, multilingual students often demonstrate improved cognitive abilities such as problem solving, critical thinking. Research shows that learning multiple languages can enhance memory and concentration, making multilingual individuals more adaptable and better at multitasking. In the workplace, multilingualism is a valuable asset. It opens doors to international businesses, opportunities, and improves collaboration among colleagues from different regions. Companies that prioritize multilingualism are better equipped to serve a global customer base and navigate culture um, nonsense uh, effectively. Furthermore, multilingualism contributes to preserving cultural heritage and diversity. It encourages the appreciation of various traditions and languages, fostering a sense of belonging and identity in a multicultural society. I think that this reading article probably is going to be very easy for you to use to write your essay based on what you have in here. And I am positive that you will be able to have your views and give examples. Why? Because in Afghanistan, we are lucky that we have multi languages. And over the couple of years, you have been working. For those of you who have had advantage of working, that you have been working in organizations from different, from foreigners who work in Afghanistan. So whether they were Germans, whether they were American, whether they were Australian, whether they are New Zealand, etc., etc. That culture that each one brings, it really broadens one's mind. Here in Australia, I'm very lucky that multiculturalism has been an asset. Though now it is not that easy, but it depends on how you view. Because racism exists. It's a fact. We can't say that it doesn't. Probably there's a little bit of racism in each and every one of us, but how we handle that, we can turn it into a positive. Because if I know that I am a little bit biased about certain culture or background or ethnic, then I need to control that. And by controlling it, then I will make that one a positive. But deep down, the real fact is that there is a bit of racism in all of us as human beings. So your homework was on the slide 14. I want you to write down exactly as what you've been doing, a 280 to 300. Make sure that you write your name on the top or in the bottom. For those of you who are using a different email, which is not as part of your name, please, in your essay, identify your email also, then, because I am um, receiving keep on new names, and I want to make sure that then I can capture that. And in a couple of weeks time, I'm going to have, I think, 2 weeks holiday from my full-time job. That is when I will give you all opportunity that if anybody has missed homework from week 1, 2, 3, whatever, then I'll tell you that, okay, this is the time to catch up if on any homework that you've missed. But other than that, just going to stop, and I'll come back to the main page, and I'll see if you have any question. Any question? Because if you don't have any question, the session was recorded. You will be receiving a copy of the recording and copy of the presentation. And I think keep up the good work, please. This topic, I'm hoping that you're going to be doing much better, because it is nice and easy, not a difficult topic. So I look forward for you to write your essays and send it to me as soon as possible. Remember that it's Saturday morning. My Saturday morning, which is your Friday night, is when I will be checking, and I want to give you feedback. If I have missed any essay, please just bring it to my attention. I'll do my best to give you feedback. If there was a link in the chat for attendance, please complete it. Otherwise, I'm just going to see. I can see that some people are asking questions, so I can answer. That's okay. You're welcome. Yes, I will send the slides right away to our assistant, and the recording will also be shared with you. So if you don't have any questions, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep you all safe, and inshallah I'll be with you next week. Remember to fill the attendance and keep up the good work, and see you next week.